Every day is a win. Since I was told that you don't want me, baby, you're just colder. You know I try to hold on to it next to you.
What is up, tube, and welcome back to another tutorial by Big Al's Barber channel. Guys, what we're gonna do here, guys, is we are gonna do a number two on top, zero fade, but we're gonna go against the grain, guys, against the grain, not with the grain, but against the grain. He doesn't care about keeping the rolls because his hair is very thick. So normally when you're doing a haircut like this, you can't go against the grain, guys, but this haircut is gonna do we're gonna go with the grain. So basically what I'm using first, I'm doing the number 3.5 on him. I did a number 3.5 first. He wanted to see what it looked like, so we're doing a number 3.5 on top, number 3.5, and we're just right now we're just going with the grain. We're going with the grain. We're not gonna even go against it yet. Well, the machine we're using here, guys, is we're using the Octane, and as you guys know, the Oster Octane basically what it is an Oster. An Oster, if you guys don't know, is uses detachable blades. Detachable blades are different than a regular than using plastic clips. On detachable blades, there's only certain blades. There's a 3.5, there's a 2, there's a 1.5, a 1A, a 1. Then some people use a 5 zeros, 4 zeros, 3 zeros. I don't really use the zeros. I just use the bigger blades. But when you're doing ethnic hair, or I'm gonna use the word black hair when I'm using, because this man is gentleman's black. When you're doing black hair, I noticed the difference when you're using detachable blades and when you're doing regular blades, clips. So right here, he wants it very tight, but he doesn't want to go lower than a 3.5 right off the bat. So we're just going against the grain now. We're going against the grain. First we went with the grain. We're just trying to kind of just take it down, see how we were at, and then he decided I already know he likes me to go against the grain. He doesn't just like to go with the grain. So we're going back and forth every single way. You know what I mean? We're going from the front to the back and the back to the front. Just getting it all nice and even. All nice and even. Again, guys, there's different ways of doing this haircut. If he didn't want to lose the curls and he wanted to really keep the curls, the waves on top, then you need to go with the grain only. There's other videos where I'm going to show you guys how you go with the grain only, but this one is different. This one, he likes to go both ways. So you can see when I went back the opposite way, it really brought it down a lot more. Brought it down shorter. So now we're going to come back the opposite way. Since we picked it up, you can see the little waves right there. We're just kind of knocking them back forward, and now it's taking down more. And this is using detachable blades again, guys. This is an Oster. I'm using an Oster 3.5 right now. Oster 3.5, just mowing it all down nice and even, getting it all to the same length. And again, baby brush, guys. Use a baby brush, especially when you're doing this type of hair. You need to have a brush right there so you can comb it all forward, push all the hair forward, so that it lays down nice. Now I'm gonna go back the opposite way again, do it one more time, go front to back and back to front. And guys, if you guys want to be critical about this haircut, it's okay, because I'm not gonna say I'm the best at doing black hair. I'm not. I'm still learning, you guys. I'm still learning. Even when I first opened my shop, I wasn't really good at doing these types of haircuts until I just I decided to just jump in it and do it. Again, it comes down to one of those things where you just gotta do it. You gotta try it. These haircuts seem a little scary, but in reality they're not, guys. They're just regular type of haircut. It's a different type of texture hair, but anybody could be doing these. Anybody. So I just basically started watching videos and asking questions and doing what you're supposed to be doing. Do your homework. If you're not good at these type of haircuts, then you got to get good at them. Get good at doing any type of haircut. So right here, you guys, I'm just still using the 3.5, and I'm basically just going both ways, sideways, from the front to the back to the front. Just still trying to get it even, trying to take it down as much as possible. Remember guys, I could have sped this video up, but you know, like I do my tutorials, I always do them in real time. So we're gonna skate along. I'm gonna be talking to you guys, explaining the haircut to you, so that we could do it in real time. So right there, pretty much the top is done. I'm gonna get prep right here, and I'm gonna start doing my first guideline. Now my first guideline right here, guys, I'm gonna be using the new Babyliss skeleton skeletonized trimmer, the FX. It's a medium fade, so we're just gonna start right at the eye level and temple, and we're just gonna create our first guideline. Guys, if you haven't seen my review on this gold FX, I suggest you guys check it out, guys. This trimmer right here is fire, probably the best trimmer out there right now. So right there, guys, I'm just kind of basically just creating my first guideline. Like I said, it's eye level. We're gonna go straight back, and I'm just creating that first guideline. You know, I've used many machines to do this part of the haircut. You guys see me using the balder. You guys have used me my other GTX trimmer, but so right now this is the best trimmer out there, and I have to back it up, you know. But only durability and time will tell. We'll see. I haven't run into any issues with the blade yet, or stuff like that. But you know, it's still, like I said, we're still working with it, and we're working through it. So again, right here, we're just continuing with our guideline. You can see this machine cuts like butter. Look at this. Oh my. Just creating our guideline, guys, all the way across. Many ways of fading, guys. Many ways of fading. This is my technique. This is a technique that I developed. This is a technique that's good if you're not used to doing black hair and you want to get into doing black hair, and this is the way you do it. This is the easiest way that I found to do it. And trust me, guys, I've dabbled with using plastic clips. I've dabbled using different machines, using a masters to get these haircuts down, and I found it that using detachable blades is the easiest way of you doing it. The very easiest way. So remember, guys, we did a 3.5 on top, 3.5 all nice and even on top. We went back and forth. There was no staying with the grain. We went against the grain also. So now we're ready to move on to our next section right here. So what I'm doing right there, guys, I'm still doing the number 3.5, and I'm kind of just pushing that corner in. And actually what I did right there, guys, I showed you, is that I switched the blade, and now I'm using a number 2, because we went 3.5 on top, and we're still going against the grain. I'm still going downward. See right there? That's the number 2, and I'm just coming down with it. I don't want to go up yet, because you know we're trying to blend it down. Just going downwards. Once I go down there, now I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to go the opposite way. And that's what makes it a little bit lighter. As you can see, it's starting to blend in a little bit. So that's our number 2. Again, pushing it downwards, forward a little bit. Just trying to go with the grain right here. Just pushing it downwards. Right now I'm going to switch my blade now, and I'm going to go with my 1.5, and I'm just doing steps, basically, guys, just doing steps. Now I'm doing the same thing, just bringing it downwards. And the reason why I'm doing that, guys, is because it's darker towards the top, so I'm trying to blend it, cut it down the opposite way. Now I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to do the opposite way. Now it's really going to line up, but I'm not going to go as high. I'm going to bring it down a little bit lower than I did when I went with the number 2, because it's the 1.5. So you don't go back to the same spot, you go a little bit lower below that. See, we have that darkness right there, so that's why I'm going to go back the opposite way and try to blend it down the opposite way. I'm just trying to fade that little section out, that little dark spot, so that it blends right in. Oh, what happened to my camera? I lost my vision right there, guys. Excuse that right there. There it came back. So now that we went with that, now we're going with the 1A, guys. The 1A, and we're going only upwards. Not as high. Stay a little bit lower, maybe about halfway up. You can see that. That's the 1A blade. The 1A. We're just basically fading up, guys. Fading up. I turn it around, see, and I see a little dark spot right there, and I think, like, man, if I come the other way, maybe it won't get it too light. And that's what it is, because the hair's growing downward, so if you go down with it, it'll bring it the other way. So right here again, with the 1A blade, and we're only going halfway up, guys. Halfway up. 1A blade. The 1A. The 1A is the blade that goes between the 1.5 and the 1. If you guys don't know that about detachable blades. Now I'm going to put on my number 1 blade. My number 1 blade is a little bit darker. Well, actually, you know what, guys? That wasn't my number 1 blade. I'm sorry. Now I'm coming back with my Wahl Cordless, and I'm basically lever open, and I'm going across. Once I go across, I'm going to lower my lever a quarter way, and I'm going to go back up to the same spot again. Now I'm halfway, and I'm basically pushing that dark shadow up from the bottom up, pushing it up, blending it up, guys. Pushing from the bottom up, just pushing that shadow up. Right there, I could tell there's a little bit of a darker spot, so I'm kind of just working right there, using the corner of my machine. So remember, guys, we just went in steps, basically. It was kind of difficult explaining to me. I'm getting better at these videos, but you know, it's still hard, a little bit hard explaining. But right here, you can see I'm going up with my trimmer, and I'm just basically pushing that bottom line up, blending it out. So remember, the way we did it with detachable blades, guys, is we went with our number 2, 1.5, 1A, and then the number 1. After we went with the number 1, then we go straight to our Wahl machine, or whatever machine you use to fade with. Lever open, and we're going to erase that bottom line. Simple as that, guys. You could be saying, like, why didn't you just do it with clips, or why didn't you do it? You know what, guys? This is just my method of doing this type of hair, and just, you know, my trials and working on these, and this is my formula for doing this type of haircut, and it's the quickest way, because in reality this haircut only took me about 25 minutes to do. So again, here we go. We're gonna go in back again with our number 3.5 first. 3.5, okay? Because we started on top of the 3.5, so we're just kind of evening out right above the parietal ridge, coming over the parietal ridge, coming downwards, kind of like at the same time the machine's kind of combing the hair. You want to lay it in the direction that it lays, and that's the easiest way of explaining it. You want it to lay down in the direction that it lays. Just pushing it downward, going against the grain right there. Going the opposite way, get it all nice and even. Same as the other side, guys. One with the 3.5. Now we're switching out the blade. Now we're gonna go with a number 2. Number 2, and then the same thing. We're coming down. First, I come down. This is just my technique, guys. I come down the opposite way, then I'm gonna turn it around and go the other way. And the reason being is because when you come down the opposite way, you're gonna get a little tighter in that direction. At least that's what I think, anyway. So again, that's the number 2 right there. Number 2, getting it nice and even, coming down both directions. Number 2 still. The same technique, guys. Same technique on each side. Again, when I fade, I don't fade all the way around the head. I fade in 3 sections. I fade one side, the back side, and then the other side. Coming down with that hair right there. The opposite direction, guys. Opposite direction. I guess I went over it quite a few times. Now we're going to switch out to our number 1.5. 1.5. And this time I'm going to go up to probably the top of the crown. Again, I'm going to come down the opposite direction first, just to lighten it up. It's just lightening it up a little bit. And then I'm going to flip it around and go the other way. This is the 1.5. 1.5. You could tell it's already lightening it up from the top of the crown downward. It's already starting to get a little lighter. Coming the opposite way now. 1.5. Same thing. Just lightening up. Getting it all nice and light. Shouldn't get too many shadows, guys, because if you're going in steps, you know, step fading, and this is what you call step fading right here, and using detachable blades. Again, that's the 1.5 right there, still just fading it out. I see a little dark spot right there. See right there? And it's, you always got to follow the grain. So if you want it nice and even, and it's going upwards, and you got to come back the opposite direction, you know. Again, guys, this is my version of this type of haircut. You know, I guess you could say this is kind of like the Mexican version of a black person's haircut. You know what I mean? I never said I was very good at these haircuts, but I have a lot of customers that come back and they enjoy the way I cut their hair. So I'm assuming that I'm pretty good at them. You know. So right here, now we're on the 1A, guys. Okay, we're going up. Not as high as we went with the 1.5. We're staying a little bit lower, guys, a little bit lower, but still lightening it up. You can see it's starting to take shape right there. Now we're gonna put the number still the 1A. I'm sorry, we didn't swap it out there. It's the 1A. So we're gonna go from 1.5 to the 1A. Now we're putting on the 1 clip. 1 clip, just go a little bit, you're about halfway up, and this is really gonna line it up. But this one, when you get to the end, you don't want to kind of just go in there and stop. You kind of want to, as you can see, I kind of little C-cup motion at the end of it, and that kind of lightens it up, but lifts it up and blends it in, so that it doesn't just stay there nice and dark and that's it. You know, you don't want that. You want it to blend in, so you have to have that little C-cup motion at the end. As you can see, I kind of like nudge it, and that creates that part. So now we're going to come back with our Wahl no clip lever open, and we're going to create a guideline. It's not much of a guideline because it's a 1 right there, so it's going to be very light. As I go across, I lower my lever 1/4 way, and I'm going to go back up to the same spot. When I get to that same spot all the way across, and as you can see, I'm using mostly the corner of the machine, guys. You have to be very aware how you're using your machine. I'm using that corner of the machine, and as I go across, I'm lowering my lever another 1/4 way. Now I got the lever completely closed, and I'm coming back the opposite way. As you can see, sometimes I swap from side to side. I'll go from the other side of the blade to the other side. So that external, see that bottom line right there that I couldn't get up? Now I'm going to come back with my trimmer and just push that line up. And that's my final blend. Remember, guys, leaving a line, a halo around somebody's head is the worst thing you could do in a fade, guys. If you're going to do that, ask for help. Ask your senior barber in your shop. Do not let halos leave your shop. That is the ugliest thing you could do. That's called a chili bowl. You don't want to let a chili bowl go out. You know what I mean? So right there is pretty much done. That side's already done. I'm kind of just working with a secondary line. I put on my half clip. That's a half clip on there. And I'm trying to fade out the shadow that I created when I went up with the half. If that makes sense. It's weird the way I fade, guys. I fade downwards to the bottom. Then from the bottom, I fade up to the middle. And then in the middle, I just blend it all out. And that's just the way I was taught, you know. When you're learning how to fade, whoever's teaching you how to fade is going to teach you the way they learn, the way they cut. But eventually, when you're getting into the shop and you're doing your work and you're working, and you're going to develop your own little system of cutting hair. And I've talked about that in my other vlogs, is that every barber has a system of cutting hair. And you develop your system and you run with it, you know. Okay, guys, right here we're back again with the 3.5. And we're just pushing it forward, guys. Pushing it forward. You can see that the waves on top stayed. So we just went with the 3.5. Now I'm going to put my number 2. And I'm going to go back and go in the same direction again. Going from the top to the back. Because I don't want to mess up those waves right there. So that's why I'm not really going against the grain right there. I'm just going with it. And you can see it's already lining up. So I'm lining up from the top of the crown downward. Now I'm going to put my 1.5 on. And I'm going to do the same thing one more time. Come back from the top to the bottom. And 1.5, same thing. See, and I can see it lightening up right there. It's already starting to take shape. We just gotta fade this side out right here, and the fade's pretty much done, guys. Now I'm gonna turn it around, and I'm gonna come back the opposite way with it. You can see right there, and that's a 1.5 still, 1.5. Going the opposite way. See how it really dark, got light right there? That's kind of a 1.5. You know, when you're fading, guys, if you guys are getting started on fading, a 1.5 is kind of the standard on the sides when you're fading out. You're gonna fade out the 1.5 to the top of the crown, and then the top of the crown you gotta connect it. That's your parietal ridge where you connect from the side of the head to the top of the head, and that's where most barbers have a lot of problems. Still 1.5 right here, guys. Still 1.5. You already seen the fade starting to take shape. We're doing detachable blades here, guys. No, mostly detachable blades. We're using the other machine too, but that's only to fade out the bottom line. So now we're gonna come back again. After we did our 1.5, now we're coming back with our 1A. 1A almost to the same spot, keep it a little bit lower, and basically fading out that bottom darkness right there. See the dark shadow, the dark line at the bottom? We're just trying to fade that out. As we go up, we pull up, doing our little C-cut motion again. Don't just go in there and stop. You have to do a little bit of a C-cut motion. Now we're gonna come back with our number 1. So again, same steps as the other side, guys. 3.5, 2, 1.5, 1A, then the 1. This is the 1. We're only going halfway up. As we go up, halfway up, we're doing our little C-cut motion, pulling up. Don't just stop there, because if you stop there, you're going to create a shadow, and that's going to be a very hard shadow to get out right in the middle. So now we're going to grab again our Wahl. Now what I did is I grabbed my 1.5, and I saw a little bit of a shadow up there, so I'm just kind of cleaning that up before we fade out that bottom line. This is one of my regulars, guys. This is one of our APU students, our local university. We get a lot of university students to come to our shop, and I've been cutting this gentleman's hair already for a few years, and you know, every time I cut it, when I see him come in, I like cutting his hair, because to me this is a challenge, you know, and it's fun to cut this type of hair. So again, we went with our machine lever open, and I created a guideline. As I went across, I lowered my lever 1/4 way, again just fading out from the bottom up. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to put my half clip on and fade out the center line. Same steps we use on the back, guys. I explain them a little bit more thoroughly over there, but it's the same exact steps. Right there, my half clip, I'm just kind of fading out, making sure that there's no little dark shadows. Shadows and lines, guys. Shadows and lines is what destroys fades. Remember that. Get your shadows in order and no lines. Right there, I got the half clip on, and I'm just trying to fade it out. Make it look nice and even. Moving along pretty good right here, guys. Right now we're at 21 minutes on this haircut, so you know, we're doing good. Right there, I'm put on the number 2, and I'm basically just working on that little corner right there, that side where from the parietal ridge to the top of the head. I see a little bit of a darkness there, and I'm just trying to blend that out a little bit. See, I even put the 1.5 right there, and I'm kind of running it very lightly, trying to fade out that corner right there. It's all detail work, guys. You have to have detail work when you're doing stuff like this. Do your homework, study, you know, and reps, guys. Reps is nothing better than reps, you know. Reps is what does it. So right here, I'm going to fade out. Now that I'm done with the fade, I'm just going to come back with my Braun Series 9, guys. Braun Series 9 shaver. And I'm going to take it down to the skin. Because you know what? Every time I do a fade, always take it down to the skin. Nobody comes in my chair and walks away without coming down to the skin. Not even children. When I get a little kid and they want me to do a zero on him, then he's going to get shaved with this Braun Series 9 right here. This is the most gentle shaving machine out there. Even people that don't like to get shaved, like a lot of black people don't like to get shaved because they get razor bumps. This young gentleman right here, he doesn't mind because he knows this machine is very, very gentle, and it takes it down all the way down to the skin. I'm like, you won't see nothing there. And that's what makes the difference between a super tight fade and just a regular old fade, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I take pride in giving super tight fades. Just moving along quickly right here with our Braun Series 9. You couldn't do this with an Andy's foiler or a Wahl detailer. You couldn't do this. With Finale, you couldn't do this. It would take you a lot longer. But with the Braun Series 9, it moves along quickly. Leaves it nice and smooth. Go from side to side. Clean it all up. Fade looks nice and tight. I don't see no lines. Yeah, a little bit maybe of a shadow, but we go back and clean it up right now. See right there, I can see that corner right there again, and I'm just like looking at it like, I gotta bring that down a little tighter. So I'm going down with my number 2 again. Because remember, we did a 3 on top. So if we did a 3 on top and that corner's a little darker, I'm gonna go with a number 2. But I'm not gonna go against the grain. I'm only gonna go with the grain, which means I'm only cutting the top hairs. So we're just gonna do a little quick lineup right here again, pushing all the hair forward, guys. Always push the hair forward before you do your lineup. And as always, as you guys know, when I do my lineups, I do one side first, and then I'll turn the chair around and I'll do the other side. As you guys can see, I don't really move around a lot when I'm doing my haircuts. I kind of stay behind my client, and I move my chair a lot. You know, I let my chair do the work. I work smart, not hard, and that's the thing you gotta do when you're a barber. You gotta work smart, not hard. If you work hard, well, guess what? You're gonna be super tired by the end of the night. And guess what? If you're doing 15, 20 haircuts, you're gonna be exhausted by the end of the night. You gotta work smart. Stay behind your client. Work on what you call it, on a one of those sponges that's under your chair, you know, a mat, because mats are important. My shop has mats on them, because if not, your feet are going to be aching by the end of the day. So right there, I'm just trying to get that corner nice and tight, get that 90-degree angle, get that nice little crisp corner. Never go across to the other side. I only stay on one side. Remember, guys, this is my own technique right here. This is the way I do these types of haircuts. You know, I'm just trying to help you guys better your barbering career. You could call this you could call this haircut the white boy way of doing black people haircuts, I guess, because, you know, I'm just a Mexican guy trying to do these haircuts. But at the same time, like I said, guys, with practice, determination, passion, you could get this done. You know, I'm passionate about what I do. So when I don't know how to do something, I throw myself in it and I just learn it. You know, and you have to get good at things. Flat tops, you know, this types of haircut, hard haircuts, you know, they're hard, but you still got to do them. And if you're going to be a barber, how are you going to be a barber and not call yourself a barber and not be able to do them, you know? And there's only one way of doing them, and that's just jumping in and doing them. Never shy away from haircuts. Never shy away from haircuts, guys. That's the best advice I can give you. In this business, never let money walk out of your chair. Take everything down. They come in, you do them. Right here, guys, I'm the same thing again. I'm just going, shaving them up, getting them all nice and tight, getting the last of the hairs right there. See right there, I see a little bit darkness right there, so I'm trying to get that down a little bit more. So I'm going again with my number 2 with the grain only, not against the grain. I don't want to go against the grain, because if I go against the grain and number 2 right there, for sure you're going to leave a big dark spot. Right there, came back with a 1.5, and I'm just cleaning up that little side right there. Just little detail things like this and make your haircuts pop, guys. So right here, we're just finishing up the last detail parts of this haircut, guys. This is pretty much it. This haircut is complete. You know, I was going over here with a 3.5, and I just noticed there was some little hairs on top, and I'm just wondering, like, man, I used to think, like, how do I get these little tiny hairs? You know, the machine's not getting it. I don't want to go any lower, and they're just little straggler hairs. So, you know, from watching other videos, I picked up this little technique, and what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna grab my Wahl shaver. I don't use my Braun for this. I don't even know if the Braun will work for this, but I use a Wahl Finale shaving machine, and I'm just gonna go over the top real quick and grab the little hairs that are on top, because the little hairs, the little straggler hairs, they make a difference. They you know, when the guy looks up in the air at the mirror and they looks inside himself, first thing he does is look at the sides and looks at the top. If he sees little stragglers there, he's gonna be like, what the heck? So this is a little thing that I picked up from watching other people, and I'm just gonna go back right here with my shaver. Check this out, and you just kind of clean them up. Just run it along, glide it along the top, never touching their hair, just basically cutting those little hairs off. And that's what makes a haircut pop, guys. Little detail stuff like this, guys. That's it for this haircut. This tutorial's over. I appreciate you guys watching. Remember, guys, this is my way of cutting this type of hair. I'm no expert at cutting black hair. I'm just doing my part, learning my part, trying to show you guys. And this is the Mexican way of cutting black people hair, I guess you could say. But hey, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Again, guys, join the team. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell button so we get all the notifications when I drop a new video. I'm coming out with new content every single day, blogs, product reviews, tutorials. I'm in it to win it, guys. And you know what, guys, I hope to see you there. Grind on. See you guys later.